YouTube and welcome back to my kitchen. Today we're going to do my most requested cheesecake of all time. It's a caramel cheesecake. The bottom of the cheesecake is your average normal cheesecake and the topping is a decadent, incredibly sweet caramel. It's very time consuming, however it's very rewarding and actually not that difficult. I thought you guys might enjoy a cheesecake recipe for the new year or to enjoy the rest of the year. So stick around and I'll show you how to get started. Alright, to get started with our caramel cheesecake today, we're just going to take 1.5 cups of either graham cracker crumbs or cookie crumbs. That kind of is up to you and your taste buds. Today I have graham cracker crumbs, so 1.5 cups. And to that I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of sugar and 1/4 cup of melted butter. And we're just going to stir that up. And what we're kind of looking for is the consistency of wet sand. If you find that it's too dry, you can always add maybe a tablespoon more of your melted butter. But I find that this measurements usually work every time. I say usually because there's always that one time where it's just a little too dry. Alright, this is looking great. I've always loved the smell of graham crackers. I don't know why. Maybe that also stems from childhood. Okay, that's looking good. At this point, we're going to take our 9-inch springform pan. We use that for cheesecakes. And we're going to put tin foil right on the bottom because I like to give my cheesecakes a water bath. So I always like to ensure that that seal is extra tight and there's no water that's going to get in there. So at this point, we're going to just spray our pan. Get the bottom and the sides. If you have parchment paper, you can also line the bottom with parchment paper. Just trace the outside ring and set a piece down there if you're wanting to remove the bottom the bottom part of the pan from the cake. But at this point I'm actually out of parchment paper, so this is what I have to work with. We're just going to dump our graham cracker crumbs right on in there, and I find it works best if you pack it in with your fingers. You can use the bottom of a glass. I've seen people use the bottom of measuring cups. Whatever works for you. I just find my fingers work the best. Kind of up the sides a little bit. Just make sure it's definitely on the bottom. Alright, and now at this point, I'm just going to pop this in a preheated 350-degree oven for 10 minutes, just so the crust has a chance to set. I'll bring you back when we're all finished. Okay, my crust has baked in the oven for 10 minutes, and I can see it's got a nice little golden brown on the edges. That's perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for. I'm just going to set this aside, and I'll get ready for the next step to make our filling. Alright, to make our filling, we're just going to need 4 bricks of cream cheese softened into room temperature. Excuse me. And to that, we're going to add 1 1/4 cup of just white granulated sugar. And at this point, I like to cream my cream cheese and sugar together, just so that my cream cheese, there's no lumps or anything like that. So this is your chance to turn your volume down. Perfect. At this point, I'm just going to add 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, one and a half cups of sour cream, it seems like a lot because it is a lot. This is a very decadent cheesecake. At this point, this is just my regular cheesecake recipe. The caramel part doesn't come until on top, but this is my most requested cheesecake of all time from my family members, so this is what I thought I'd show you for New Year's. So that's 1 1/2 cups of sour cream and 2 teaspoons of lemon juice. I'm gonna go ahead and mix this together. Alright, you're going to want to make sure at this point you are very well combined because I'm going to start adding my eggs, and you don't want to overmix your eggs in your cheesecake. It'll cause the egg whites to rise, and you're more prone to get a crack in your cheesecake at that point. Alright, so now we're going to add 3 eggs and 1 egg yolk, and we add them one at a time. I don't know the science behind it, I just know that that's what you're supposed to do, so that's what I'm doing. So one at a time, I'll add my eggs and I will keep mixing. Egg yolk kind of got stuck to the bottom here. I'm just going to scrape her out. It busted on when I was opening it. That's okay. Alright. I'm going to give my sides a scrape down, and I will mix it together one more time just to make sure all of the lumps are out. No one likes a lumpy cheesecake. Alright, this is looking gorgeous. I love a good cheesecake. Alright, now to my crust, I'll just go ahead and start adding my cheesecake filling. The lemon that I've added in here isn't gonna, you're not gonna really taste the lemon. It just enhances all of the, like the rich creamy flavors of the cream cheese and the sour cream. You won't even notice it, but it really does enhance the flavor here. All right, got most of my filling out. We're just gonna take and smooth it out as best you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. We have a topping, a very decadent caramel topping that goes on top. It is not hard at all. In fact, it is one of the easiest toppings I've ever had to make. However, it is the most time consuming. Make sure, in case like you did what I did here, if you get splatters on the outside edges, I like to just clean them off now, just so things are nice and tidy, and it's easier to get off once it's once you're all baked and you don't want to have to scrub your pan. I like to kind of just give mine a jiggle, maybe a light tap, just to make sure any air bubbles are out of there. Now once this is, you've got your cheesecake in your pan, we're going to put it in the oven at 350 degrees, that's preheated, for 15 minutes. Now that once it's in there for 15 minutes, we turn our heat down to 325 and we let it bake for an hour and 25 minutes. Now once that time is up, you turn your oven off completely and then you let it sit inside the oven, don't open it up, for at least an hour. I will bring you back when that whole process is done. Alright, while my cheesecake is baking, I'm going to make the caramel topping. And like I said, it is the easiest, but the most time-consuming topping in the world. You literally just take a can of sweetened condensed milk, you peel the wrapper off, as best you can. I might have to do this off camera. There we go. Well, there we go. Alright, you peel your wrapper off because it'll kind of leave a residue on your pot. I mean, that's not what you want here. And you literally place it in a stock pot full of water and you turn it on high to medium heat for 4 hours. And that's it. You literally, that's it. Now halfway through, so at the 2-hour mark, what I'll do is I'll use my tongs, and because the water is incredibly hot, you don't want to scald yourself, but you literally just turn your can over so the condensed milk cooks evenly, and then you let it boil for the next 2 hours. So that's 4 hours in total. Now you will probably have to refill your water, so just keep checking on it. Don't go anywhere. Obviously you don't have to watch it for 4 hours, but I'm saying don't leave the house or anything. That's a fire hazard. We don't want that. However, like I said, easiest but most time consuming. 4 hours in the stock pot. And once it's done, I'll open up the can and I will show you the deliciousness that rests inside. Alright, I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright, we're back. My cheesecake has been in the oven and baked up nicely. I let it rest in there for 55 minutes. And now I've let it cool for about 5 minutes, just sitting here hanging out on the countertop, or I guess the stovetop. But now I'm going to start to run my knife gently along the edges, so that way as my cheesecake cools, it doesn't pull. Like if it's stuck to the edge, it doesn't pull and then create a crack, which is something I don't want. But if you guys do get a crack, it's not a big deal. We're making our caramel sauce to go on top. No one will ever know that there's a crack. And you know what? If there's a crack in your cheesecake, it's okay. That means it's homemade, you know? And the effort that goes into a cheesecake, a homemade cheesecake, is quite a bit. And I'm sure whoever's enjoying your cheesecake won't mind that crack one bit. It looks and tastes delicious. Alright, at this point, I'm going to let this cool completely to room temperature. And then once that's finished cooling, I'm going to put it in the refrigerator for 8 hours overnight. I'm a firm believer in letting it set up as long as you can, preferably 6 to 8 hours, just so it gets a really nice set. And it should be just a little jiggly to the touch. See how kind of, I hope that's picking up. He jiggles just a little bit and it's perfect. Excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat. I should have mentioned too that I did cook this in a water bath, just in case you were wondering. However, I will bring it back when it's cooled completely, set up in the fridge, and time to put our caramel sauce on top. Okay guys, my sweetened condensed milk has boiled for 4 hours. I flipped it halfway through so it got a chance to boil evenly on both sides. I let it cool completely to room temperature, and I'm going to open it up, and it will be the most decadent caramel you've ever tasted. This is completely safe. I've been doing it for years. I can't remember where I got the recipe. I think it was from an old cookbook. This is literally the best. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. This is the best caramel I've ever had in my life. It's time consuming, but ridiculously worth it. This is good for dips, like if you need a fruit dip, especially in the fall, maybe an apple dip. But at this point, I am just going to cover this and set it in my refrigerator. My cheesecake is already in the refrigerator, gonna cool overnight, and I will bring you back tomorrow morning and I will put this on top of that cheesecake and it's gonna be delicious. I'll see you then. Alright guys, we are back. My cheesecake has had a chance to set up overnight in the refrigerator. I'm just going to run my butter knife right along the edge one more time, more for my own sake than anything else. This is my least favorite part of a cheesecake. I fear that it's, for some reason, oh, I don't know, going to fall apart at the end. And then all my hard work was for naught. And this particular cheesecake is actually going to my cousin for Christmas. So I really want it to turn out nicely. Alright, this is the part. We're just going to release the edges, or the ring part of our pan. And look at that, it came out beautifully. I always get scared. Alright, I'm just going to kind of clean up the edges here. These little bits of graham crackers don't get kind of, oh, they'll be all right. I think I'm just a perfectionist and I worry that, I don't know, especially because this cheesecake is actually going to somebody. Alright, I've also got my caramel out. I've kind of taken it out of the fridge for about an hour just to kind of soften up some. And at this point, we just frost it like a cake. Put our caramel right on top. And just kind of smooth it out. You guys, this cheesecake is so decadent and delicious. It's perfect for a holiday, for New Year's in this case. I've never met anyone who doesn't like it. My cousin loves them. This is his absolute favorite. While time consuming, it's really not that complicated to make, and it tastes, oh my goodness. Probably my favorite too, in all honesty. There we go. That is it. Alright guys, that's my caramel cheesecake. I think it looks beautiful and I know it tastes delicious. If you liked today's video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you like what I do here, I'd love to have you, so hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos. Until next time guys.